Hello and welcome to my latest video. This time we're going to be taking a look at one of the best black and white films I have ever seen, Helldrivers. With its gritty plot and frankly amazing cast, this film is an absolute classic, but chances are you may well know nothing about it. Let me whet your appetite and see just why this film deserves your attention. Helldrivers is a black and white British film that was produced and released in 1957 by the Rank organisation and shot at Pinewood Studios. It was directed by American screenwriter and author Cy Enfield, who would later go on to direct another British cinema classic, Zulu. Set in the mid-1950s, the feel of the film is very much of a nation looking to re-establish itself after the end of the Second World War. Jobs were hard to come by, and Britain was undergoing a huge change with an immense rebuilding programme in full swing. The plot concerns a recently released convict, Joe Utley, although he's called Tom throughout the film, played by Stanley Baker, who takes a job at a haulage company. Tom has just spent a year in prison and upon release is determined to start a new life going straight. He goes to Haulets, a transport firm which hauls gravel and ballast from a quarry. He is directed to the site manager, Mr. Cartley, as convincingly portrayed by William Hartnell.
Hey!
Yes?
I'm looking for a job. Who do I see?
Oh, you're out of luck, Jump. Who's won, mate? It's on now.
I heard you needed drivers for ballast.
You're a ballast driver?
Any kind of a driver. What difference does it make?
Tom speaks to Cartley's secretary, Lucy, as played by Peggy Cummins. He says he met a former Haulets driver who had had a serious accident and assumed that there is a job available as a result. Cartley explains to Tom that his drivers have to transport their 10-ton loads over bad roads and are expected to make a minimum of 12 runs a day. Each run is a 20-mile round trip. If a driver falls behind, he is fired. The top driver makes 18 runs a day.
I heard you needed ballast drivers.
You met McGowan, is that right?
Yeah.
Did he tell you how much he cost us in compensation? He couldn't handle the loads, not at the speeds we wanted. How long have you been driving?
12 years?
Many accidents?
No.
You sure?
Now look, I told you.
License. No endorsements, no convictions for speeding, why not?
I guess I was never caught.
Joined by the mechanic, Ed, played by Wilfred Lawson, Tom goes on a trial run in truck number 13. Yes, all the trucks have their own number. During the trip, he narrowly avoids colliding head-on with a couple of other trucks speeding back in the opposite direction.
You've got to keep that needle north of 30. Every mile you get above that, you can reckon on another 6 pence an hour. You drop below it and you're out of a job.
Cartley hires Tom and he is assigned truck number 13. He gets his lodgings sorted out, and it's here where we're introduced to Gino, a former Italian prisoner of war, held captive in the UK, but because he loves the country so much, has decided to settle here. Gino is beautifully played by Herbert Lom. He and Tom become friends. Gino is a fellow truck driver and is in love with Lucy. He's then introduced to some of the other drivers. These include Red, the site foreman, a tough Irishman as brilliantly portrayed by Patrick McGowan. He is also the head driver and holds the record for most runs in a day. Here we are also introduced to Gordon Jackson, Sid James, Sean Connery and the rest of the drivers. Red offers a £250 gold cigarette case to any driver who can make more runs than him in a day.
Stinker. Watch it. Barber Joe.
Yeah, beautiful bumps.
Come on, Pop, wake up. Pop, meet Tom. Scotty.
Hi, Tom. There's a seat going over here. You can sit next to me.
No, you can't do that to the guest of honor. You're going to sit right next to me.
Yes. You sit here, Tom.
Hey, Dusty. The new one always gets the head of the table.
You blab, I'll break your neck.
You do what?
Look, he's got to learn sometime, ain't he?
And this is our little Jill, a little darling.
Aye, treat her good and you get double portion.
He's big enough to look after himself.
Hello.
Reg ain't gonna keep that thing much longer.
There's a gold in that case.
Let the new boy have a look at it. Look at that. Isn't that marvelous? Feel the weight of it. Solid gold. Isn't that a beaut?
Do more runs than Red in a day and she's yours.
He's the pace setter, see? He keeps us on the ball.
That's solid 22-carat gold. It's worth 250 quid.
Tom is determined to win this, but learns that Red has kept his place at the top by taking a very dangerous shortcut that none of the other drivers will dare risk anymore. After work one evening, the drivers go out to a dance at a nearby hall. Here, Lucy declares her love for Tom and not Gino. As the evening wears on, the drivers get more drunk and rowdy. Inevitably, a fight ensues. When the police are called, Tom, who is almost certainly on parole, avoids the fighting and flees the scene. Red calls him a coward and the other drivers, with the exception of Gino, turn on him, even looking to lynch him in the boarding house, impeding his truck runs and bullying him. Tom just takes the abuse and does not fight back.
Red, the cops! Blow the cops! You get stuck in! Come on! Hey! Come back, yellow belly! Come back, you! Hey! Come back, yellow belly!
We then get a bit of backstory as Tom visits his mother's general store. There we also encounter Tom's brother, Jimmy, being played by an incredibly young David McCallum. Tom's mother, played by Beatrice Varley, refuses to take any money from Tom, whom she blames for making Jimmy a cripple. He now needs crutches to walk. It is assumed Tom and Jimmy committed some crime together, which resulted in Jimmy getting injured. Gino offers to switch the truck numbers with Tom the next day and take some of the heat off him and give Tom a chance to win the gold cigarette case. Lucy and Tom are attracted to each other, but gallantly, Tom refuses to betray his friend Gino. Tom finally confronts Red in a fistfight and beats him.
You take my number plates as number 3. I put your number 13 on my track. Then for me, the boys make all the trouble. For you, there is a clear road. You like Gino's idea? You be number 3.
That evening, Lucy breaks up with Gino. She finds Tom working on his truck and the two share a romantic moment. Even though Gino is crushed with Lucy's admission, he still goes ahead with the switch as arranged, not realising that Tom has already decided to jack the job in and is waiting at the station to catch a train back to London and resume his life of crime. At this point, Lucy rushes to the railway station to tell Tom that Gino has been seriously injured in a crash. Distraught, they both rush to the hospital, where they are informed that Gino is dying. Lucy reveals to Tom that Cartley and Red are actually pulling a scam by employing 5 fewer drivers than they are being paid for and pocketing the difference between them. In his dying breaths, Gino says to Tom that he threw them off as planned, for him to win, but he didn't even show up. Tom asks if it was Red who had caused the crash, but Gino sadly dies without answering. Angry, Tom returns to the depot and confronts Cartley. He informs him that Gino has died and that he knows all about the scam he and Red are pulling. Cartley offers him a share of the crooked money as well as Red's coveted number 1 truck. Tom dismisses the idea but still takes truck number 1 and goes off to pick up a load. When Red arrives at the depot, he forces Cartley to join him in what they think is truck number 3, and they set out to silence Tom. Red correctly guesses that Tom will take the dangerous shortcut through the quarry, and it's here that they park up and wait for him. With Tom's truck full of ballast, Red sideswipes Tom's truck and forces him off the road and onto the edge of the quarry. Here the truck dangles precariously with Tom unconscious at the wheel. The brakes on Red's truck, which he realises is actually Tom's original truck number 13, fail, and he and Cartley drive off the edge of the quarry and are both killed.
You've got him! Oh, we haven't. What's wrong? Brakes! Tom.
Tom regains consciousness and escapes just before his own truck tumbles into the quarry. Lucy, who has followed them in a jeep, rushes to him. And there you have it. A bit of an abrupt ending, but its impact is enhanced because of this. For me, the film rises well above others of the period by its outstanding cast, many of which were either in their first or very early roles, or would later go on to have illustrious careers. Stanley Baker as Tom Utley, a very prolific TV and film actor and perfectly cast in Helldrivers as the good guy with an element of toughness, a true anti-hero. This was his first real lead role, and I feel he is the perfect foil for the hardness of McGowan's character Red. On the back of the minor success of Helldrivers, he did secure a whole host of starring film roles, including the Hammer film Yesterday's Enemy, The Guns of Navarone, and for the same director, Zulu. He was purportedly considered as a possible James Bond, which his widow said he turned down, fearing typecasting. Baker later would become a film producer, but died very young at just 48 from lung cancer. Herbert Lom as Gino. Lom, a Czech-born actor, moved to the UK just before the outbreak of the Second World War. Starring in well over 100 films, he's perhaps most well known as the foil to Peter Sellers' Inspector Clouseau in the long-running Pink Panther film series, where he played Chief Inspector Charles Dreyfus. Patrick McGowan as Red, perfect as the bad guy in this film, although I did find his Irish accent a little bit annoying. McGowan would later go on to play John Drake in Danger Man and, of course, Number 6 in The Prisoner, a series which he co-created. William Hartnell as Cartley. Initially known for playing hard men and heavies, this film is no different, with Hartnell perfectly portraying the role of the crooked depot manager. Hartnell was no stranger to movie roles, with a whole host of great TV and films to his credit, including The Army Game, Brighton Rock, The Ringer with Herbert Lom, and of course Carry On Sergeant. Hartnell would later go on to be cast as the very first Doctor in the BBC's long-running Doctor Who TV series. Sid James. James played a great supporting role here as Dusty, a fellow truck driver. He is seen joking and having banter throughout the film, especially in the dance scene. He certainly adds character to the mix of truck drivers, and his craggy looks make him totally believable behind the wheel. He does seem to be included here more for his comedy elements rather than as a tough. James hit it big on Hancock's half-hour radio show and cemented his presence with being a mainstay of the Carry On franchise for virtually every film in the series. Jill Ireland. Although in a tiny role as the waitress in the Pull Inn, she is mentioned here as it is whilst working on this film that she met her first husband, David McCallum. She is also the initial love interest for Tom. Gordon Jackson as Scotty, another truck driver. Once again, not seen that much in Helldrivers, but an actor with a distinctive look that was made famous as the butler Hudson in the TV series Upstairs Downstairs. Other notable roles in an incredible body of both TV and film work include The Great Escape, The Ipcress File, Yesterday's Enemy alongside Stanley Baker, and of course as George Cowley in all 57 episodes of The Professionals. David McCallum as Jimmy Utley. Although only a minor role in Helldrivers, it is however a memorable performance as Tom's brother. Helldrivers was McCallum's third role in an incredible career. Notable appearances include The Great Escape, A Night to Remember, as Ilya Kuryakin in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. alongside Robert Vaughn, Simon Carter in Colditz, the voice of Alfred the Butler in numerous Batman animated movies, plus the 1970s Invisible Man series, and loads more. He is still acting today in NCIS as Dr. Donald Mallard at the age of 83. Lucy, Peggy Cummins. Cummins made a very believable secretary for Hartnell, and the initial chemistry between her and Baker throughout the film is truly excellent. Quite independent and able to look after herself, she travels around in what appears to be an open-top ex-US Army Jeep. Finally, Sean Connery as Johnny Cates, another truck driver. Again, almost his first film role in front of the camera, but certainly not his last. Probably the actor who went on to greatest acclaim with an immense filmography, highlighted with being cast as the first James Bond in the long-running franchise. Now, if you're tempted and you want to watch this classic today, you are in luck. Back in 2017, Network Distributing released a gorgeously restored British Film Institute Blu-ray version of the film. This includes a whole host of extra features, and I've linked to this release in the description down below. So there you go. If you thought black and white movies were boring, think again. With superb acting from a frankly astonishing cast and a plot that moves as fast as the trucks on the screen, Helldrivers is a real treat that definitely deserves your attention. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Do please subscribe for similar content on the channel. Thanks for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.